standing on furniture, or leaning against decorative pieces. If you have a sign, prop, or other piece of equipment, like video equipment or other, please make sure that it does not cause disruption or block other people's views. Signs wider than your chair must be displayed in the hall. Also, items like sticks and dowels are not allowed. Please do not approach the dais. If you have something to pass out to the council, a staff member can assist you. Our staff is here to help you. If you have any assistance or have questions, please raise your hand and a staff person will come help. Also, we recognize that 2 minutes of comment time may not be long enough to get all of your comments outlined tonight. Please visit our website, slccouncil.com, or refer to the contact information sheets by the speaker cards for information about other ways to share your comments with the council via email, phone, or mail. We are at item A4, which is the approval of minutes. Council will approve our work session meeting minutes of Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilmember Johnston and a second by Councilmember Rogers. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay? Say nay. Sorry, that wasn't me saying nay. Okay, those are approved. Okay. We'll now hold the public comment portion of our meeting. We have a few different opportunities for public comment tonight, and I'll call people based on comment cards received and turned in. Comment time is limited to 2 minutes per person. As a reminder, please be civil. The only comment card that I have right now is from Cindy Cromer. Oh, I have a second comment card from Christopher. Sorry, what was that, Cindy?
Oh, it's just asking the council members if they put a copy in front of the new District 5 seat.
Okay, thank you. So the second card that I have is Cristobal Villegas. Did I say it right? Villegas, I'm sorry. I'm going to blame it on your writing here, man. That's looking pretty rough.
Right. Okay, my name is Cindy Cromer, and this is the worst night to extend your lengthy meetings by 2 more minutes. But it's also the best night because I'm hoping that people will be tuned in to what's happening in the city. At some point during 2019, I stopped repeating the phrase housing crisis. I remember a sense of annoyance and my characteristic resistance, and then I just stopped copying what other people were saying. I decided that calling our city's situation with respect to housing a crisis was only making the situation worse. When you think about it, many people are less, not more, effective in a crisis, and members of our culture are not inclined to sustain constructive effort when confronted with challenges. 2 weeks ago, I told former council member Derek Kitchen that I was going to urge you to make a paradigm shift to think about housing as a puzzle. Derek immediately replied, "You solve a puzzle, you manage a crisis." I should have talked to Derek a lot sooner. Anyway, the skills that people consistently use in solving puzzles are listed on your handout. My favorites are from my friend Flo Eddy. At 92, she spends hours each day on puzzles with thousands of pieces. When she becomes convinced that a piece is missing in the Senior Center's collection, she fabricates the missing piece and continues with her efforts. We should do that with our needs for housing. People who solve complex puzzles proceed using the same approach. They keep the completed image in front of them all the time. They follow an established sequence, defining the edges first. They organize the pieces by similarities. These strategies tell us more about what we should do regarding housing than the frenzied marshaling of resources for a crisis. So far, we have made the situation regarding housing less bad. But less bad is not going to be good enough. And I'll be back with specific suggestions in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Cristobal. And I really am sorry about mispronouncing your name. It's been a long night.
I totally fine. I wrote it kind of sloppy, as you saw.
I'm sorry?
I wrote it kind of sloppy, so.
Anyway, good? Okay. Hello, Happy New Year. I haven't seen y'all for a while, so great to see y'all. I just want to say, thank you so much for taking the taking the emergency action regarding the temporary shelter. I thought it was, really nice that some great minds came together and were able to get some sort of temporary solution underway. I will say I wasn't so fond of the press release as it kind of had a lot of savior complexity in there. Lots of, I don't know, when I was reading it, it felt more as a council's burden to help those unsheltered folk. So I hope, as the language continues to evolve from, your organizations, it can be more of like self-critique of the savior complex in your future writings. I will also want to say that it was really interesting when I read that MLK quote. It's always the right time to do the right thing. So I just wanted to invite you, I just want to read a quick MLK quote. That's one of my favorites, and then I'll leave it as is. First, I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klan clanner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of good will is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Cristobal. Do I have another comment? Do I have any other comments? Okay, thank you. We'll move on from. Oh, sure. If you would approach the podium, and if you'll fill out a yellow comment card after you're done. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Sorry, can you give us your name first?
I can.
Thanks.
I can. My name's Daniel Ship, and I wanted to thank you for the action that you've taken in regards to the emergency temporary shelter. I've got a few quotations that have kind of guided my life over the past few years. In the immortal words of Atticus Finch to his daughter Scout, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. For the past 61 nights, I have stayed in the warming center, and I've experienced to a certain degree the hardships, the trials, and the struggles that some of our citizens are enduring. I don't know what it's like to walk around with an additional 20 pounds of water weight in one leg and 10 pounds in another, which is what a friend of mine down there is doing. I don't know what it's like to go through the throes of morning sickness, which is what another of my friends who is going through the first part of her pregnancy is enduring. I don't know what it's like to struggle with schizophrenia or with other mental health issues, but I've watched my friends consistently struggle. Not as much during the first few weeks, but much, much more so the past few weeks. I would hope that you would continue to be mindful of the struggles and the hardships that people are experiencing. Another of my favorite quotes is a Native American proverb. I've seen it attributed to various tribes. But it says, "Do not judge a man until you've walked 2 moons in his moccasins." I hope that we can do our best to walk through the hardship and to listen to the struggles, but also to open up our hearts and our ears and talk with those who are actually walking this path. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I have no more comment cards left. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a comment? Okay, seeing no one. We will move on to the next part of our agenda, which is public hearings. Our first public hearings include items B1 through B6 that will be heard as one public hearing. These are several different grant applications. Is there anybody who wishes to speak? All right, seeing none.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilmember Fowler.
I move that the council close the public hearing and refer items B1 through B6 to a future consent agenda for action.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made by Councilmember Fowler and seconded by Councilmember Johnston. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then that'll be closed and set for further hearing. We now have come to the part of our agenda let's see. Excuse me, I'm on the wrong page. We have no potential action items, and let's see, questions from the mayor from the mayor to the city council and council to the mayor. Yeah, this is
No.
wrong. This is wrong.
You don't get to ask any questions.
Yeah, it's actually wrong on here. Oh no, yeah, yes. So questions to the mayor.
Thanks for being here, Mayor.
Thank you. Second time. This
You're
is
making
great.
it. It's amazing.
My pleasure.
100%.
Tonight was special.
All right,
D5 is good, huh?
thank you.
It's kind of good.
Okay, we're now on to item D2. Oh, God. I'm really struggling. Next is unfinished business, excuse me. A resolution appointing a new member of the Salt Lake City Council to fill the unexpired term of the vacated office representing District 5.
Mr. Chair, time for a motion.
It is.
I move the council adopt the resolution appointing Darren Maceo Mano as a member of the Salt Lake City Council to fill the unexpired term of the vacated office representing District 5.
Second.
I beat you.
I seconded first.
I have a motion from Councilmember Johnston and a second from Councilmember Fowler. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Or any opposed, say nay. All right, then that passes unanimously. Mr. Mono, if you will join us on the dais.
And can we go a little bit slowly?
First, if you'll,
so
I
that
thought we're going to swear
cameras-
him in up here or down there? Okay. Mr. Mono, if you will stand where you were told to stand. Thank you.
Where does Kevin stand? Right here. Kevin?
Yeah, why don't we all?
Get out of the way.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
It's not official till you sign.
There's two of them? Two of them. Yeah, let's get a shot. And the mayor. Okay, all right. All right, first one, look up here when you're ready. All right, everybody ready? Okay, up here, let's go. No, not yet. Hang on. Okay. No, I need another one. Oh, okay. Okay, look at me. 3, 2, 1. How about over here? You guys see this? All right. Anything there? Good. Oh, good. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Now you get to sit up here. Come on up.
Excuse me.
I would rather do a puzzle.
The lights are here.
Oh.
Sorry, right there.
I just want to know from Councilmember Dugan, like, that was a pretty short term as the newest council member. I mean, that must have been a rough 3 weeks for you. But you're already moving up the totem pole, and so. Do you? Yeah. Yeah, you can be wiser to him, but not to me. Okay. Okay, so we will now move to the consent portion of our agenda. I have a motion from Councilmember Rogers and a second from Councilmember Johnston. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. And I'm an aye as well, so that passes. And that is the last item of business for tonight.
Except
Oh,
for
excuse me, no, it
announcements.
isn't. We have announcements from the executive director.
If you can stand it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Cindy Guest
Group
Jensen.
photo is the next item. So you've already had one that we can use for the next couple of weeks, but we have two possible dates for a professional photographer: Tuesday, February 11th at 1:15, Tuesday, February 18th at 1:15. So we'll send those out to you, but is there both right before council meetings, so is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I know we're all looking at our phones, but we should already be here anyway, so, right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next is the 4th Avenue Well Project in District 3. And this is the issue that was so complicated with community concerns. I guess the group is ready to move toward getting some engineering and design done so that they can come back to you with some options. There is a requirement in the appropriation that they check in with you first. So we could either ask them to come and do a briefing on that, or go ahead and let them move forward with their work and come back to the council before they proceed.
So, yeah, let's go, yeah, me too.
Do you, right now, they're ready to move ahead
Yeah.
with further engineering and design.
Yes.
And they need to do that in order to have much to say to you. However, they're willing to come back now to just tell you not much more than that, or they can do that work and come back to you before they proceed further, so that you can say, go or don't go.
Okay, the reason why I'm struggling, is, even though this is in my district, is that we have another pending meeting with the community, and I'm trying to think if whether or not if there were any statements made that members of the community might feel like we were going to have that meeting before it came back before the council. Do you recall, do you know about that, Lehua? I'm so sorry that I don't have my, I don't have to look it up right now.
That's okay. I think there are two separate things. I think that in order for public utilities to continue those meetings with the community, some of this money needs
Okay.
to be spent.
Yes.
And then there is a point at which they would come back to you once engagement with the community occurs to get your review and possible removal of the condition on the budget so that the full project can move forward. So that would still happen, and this work with design and engineering review and like next step of plan development still needs to happen in order for those meetings with the community to continue.
Okay, that sounds right. I just wanted to be sure. So for my colleagues, we've been having facilitated meetings with the community, and just wanted to make sure, because in those meetings, we're trying to move towards, we're trying to move forward in a way that is very clear and has been communicated to everybody, as the criticism before was that was a big part of the opposition and the concerns. So I appreciate you letting me do that before we move forward. But it sounds like this is probably the time to move forward. Cindy, is that consistent with your recollection too? I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of that's true. No, but is there something that you can think of that I'm forgetting right now?
I think a timeline would be very helpful about who's going to do what when.
Okay. So maybe we could, so the feedback that I was asking for a resident who has been involved in that group is that it would be helpful to get a timeline for everything moving forwards. And so I think that if we can include that also as part of the briefing, then I think we're okay to go ahead and have them move forward and then bring us some more designs to help move the process forward. That would be my feedback. Sorry it took me so long.
Got it? Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone have a concern with that? Are we cool? Okay. The
Thank
next
you.
item is the Utah Supreme Court is considering a rule that would allow DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, folks to join the bars in Utah, and they also already can do that in Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Nevada, several places. So we have a draft letter. If you are interested, if a couple of you or all of you are interested in joining together on a letter, or there's information here in your announcements if you would like to do individual comments. The deadline is January 23rd, so it would probably work if you could just let us know if you would like to join together in a letter, or if you'd like some clerical assistance getting individual comments.
Mr. Chair?
Councilmember Fowler.
I would love if we did a joint letter. I think sometimes having the whole council, if the whole council is in agreement, but if that's the case, if several of us were, I think it's a little bit more powerful than sort of individual council members. So I guess I would ask a straw poll of if people are in support of changing the rule to allow our DACA recipients to have the opportunity to join the Utah State Bar, and if we would send a joint letter. That would be my straw poll.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
All right, we have a draft in your packet of announcements, and if you could just get your comments to staff tomorrow, that way we can have it approved. We could use your electronic signatures unless you're planning to be in the office tomorrow afternoon. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
And then we'll need you all to approve what it says. Next item, you voted to move some grant items to your consent agenda. You may also choose to have a briefing on them. Staff is drawing your attention to them because they include the need for matching funds, and this this would be a future commitment to use Class C funds or the Salt Lake County Quarter Sales Tax for transportation to fund the grant match. So would you like us to just put these on your next briefing agenda for a quick update and clarification on how that would be handled?
Yes.
We're just worried that it could feel like you're committing without. Pardon?
Question was if a written briefing would be okay?
No?
I would rather hear.
Okay.
Okay. So I think let's just pull that again. Is that okay with everybody?
Verbal
Verbal
briefing.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And there's quite a bit of information, again, in your announcements about this. If you want to read that and let us know if you have specific questions, we can be sure to include those. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last item on our agenda. So with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Good work, everyone.